Yo dog, KB Boucher here, Next Level Painting. Got a quick intro to airbrushing and compressors video for you today. I didn't go over all the things I wanted to go over. I am pressed for time, trying to get these commissions out like I was talking about. But I will go over like how my airbrush looks, the parts, the moving parts, and the compressor. Additionally, let me continue to extend my all-time thank you for subscribing. It means a lot to me. Additionally, thank you for the support that's been rolling in, more and more support every day. Let me just take a brief opportunity to talk about what that means to me. I will never hold contact back from anyone. I will always put stuff out for free forever. I believe in my heart that the way to bring hobby back is to start pulling away from the 1 + 1 = 2 business model that I have, which is give me money, I'll paint you some beautiful models. I love that, and my clients love that too. But that only affects the hobby in a very small way. Try to help everyone, bring their painting to that next level and their hobby to that next level, and even bring their hobby to life. That's the true goal of my channel. I want to start going from a full-time commission painter job to more of a part-time commission painter job and a kind of more of a full-time this. Support means a lot. That means I can actually do more things like requests. Right now, taking requests is the most difficult thing for me to do because I still have to feed myself and my family unit with the money I make from the models I paint for people. So I can only show you those things most of the time. If I can find one more second in the day to show you guys something extra like today, I will. But like, it's very difficult to paint a towel gun suit, a towel battle suit, an orc, like all the things I want to paint for you guys. I've been listening to you guys, some knits. I want to do those things, but it's very difficult. So no pressure on anyone. Thank you for the support in every way, but just so you know, support means eventually I can do those things. That means I can buy a couple pieces of equipment. I can buy a couple of groceries. You know what I mean? Like, the more times that happens in a month, the more extra things I can do. I don't want to ever seem like I'm begging for anything. I am not, but I do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And thank you guys. Without further ado, I will let you guys check this video out. And don't forget to check out the part 2 of the elves video. They're on horses now. That's what I heard. It's hot in the street. Anyway, take a look at this video. All right, guys. So I'm going to start doing a couple videos about beginning knowledge with the airbrush. So here's one of the first things, your compressor. My compressor just burned out. It happens. These are the compressors I buy right here. I think Masters makes them. You can buy one with a fresh new hose on Amazon Prime for like $89 with free shipping, 2-day shipping. I mean, they're really inexpensive. Standard compressor. I'm essentially convinced that most compressors use this chassis and just change out the packaging, essentially. I mean, I've been buying compressors for years and they almost always look like this at their core, whatever the packaging is. So I'm pretty sure you can get away with these compressors. They take a little bit of maintenance. Here's the regulator. I'll explain to you how this works. This is a piston oilless compressor right here. This basically compresses air and stores it in this little tank right here. The bigger the tank, the more air can store before this has to kick back on. Very simple concept here. So they sell a lot of super quiet compressors that don't have a tank, that only kick on when you need them. But here's the thing. We need to be able to go up in our PSI. Those little quiet little compressors, I mean, the big trick about those is that they don't go up. They're not heavy duty. I mean, they're like 11 PSI. This is capable of about 100 PSI until you put the regulator on it. The regulator is what lets you control what PSI you're at. Once you put the regulator on it, it really can't go much over 45 PSI. So, well, I'll give you a couple other maintenance tips. This right here unscrews. So this is your moisture trap. Moisture will get in here. You can dump this out at the end of the day. Clean this little filter out in here every couple of months. You don't actually have to take this apart to get the moisture out. This is a bleeder valve. You just press this. Once it's compressed, it'll actually blow the moisture out. So if you're ever getting air in the lines, that's because it's getting caught in the condensation trap. So it also, all these always come with Teflon tape. So you just have to, tape up these threads real quick. I mean, and it's not an exact science, but I think the rule of thumb is you thread against it against the grain. Should have been more flat than this. But there's, I mean, they give you plenty. So like, like literally, you'll know if you did it right the second you start threading the piece on. Because if you thread the piece on and the tape just kind of comes off, then you threaded it the wrong way. I'm trying to show you guys right here. So we'll see if I threaded it right. Yep. So again, it looks like you thread it to the left and you turn this to the right. That's how you do these against the grain. Get it. So that's the problem. Is like, where do you? If I keep going, I feel like I'm over tightening it. So, but if I leave it right here, I feel like it's loose, but I want to be able to see this. So I always have this problem with these. Like, basically, I feel like that's tight, but I literally can't see anything. So that's super annoying. And the condensation trap's facing the right way. This is the only problem I have with these on occasion. So I don't really know what to do about this, except keep it a little bit loose. I mean, that's the problem with some of these cheaper ones. I think maybe they don't quality control these or whatever. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna over tape it, try to keep that seal tight. So if I keep this thing kind of loose. Hopefully it doesn't lose any air supply or anything like that while it's pumping. We're about to find out. So like I said, I'm gonna tape it up. Beast mode up in here. So we're going hot. Same kind of deal, gonna bring it right back on. See what we can do here. Hopefully we can get a snug fit. There we go. I'm about to over tighten it again. Here we go. So that's literally, if I keep going, it'll break. That's what I'm talking about. It's not gonna go any tighter than this. So I do have to back it off. I just don't feel good about that. But it's the nature of the beast. So what I did was I just, tripled down on the Teflon tape. I feel like it's got a pretty snug connection now. So we're good here. So here, like I said, so I'm pretty, so just to give you history, this is the only compressor I've ever used as next level painting. I've owned 4 of them, including this one and my backup compressor. I've burned out 2 of these. So in about 4 years and 4 months, I've killed 2 of these compressors while keeping 2 operational. At about a $90 investment per compressor in 4 years. Do the math. I don't think that's too much to ask for, especially when I'm not convinced. And, I use these compressors sometimes for 8 hours in a day. I'm not convinced that some of these other really super expensive compressors are going to hold up to the level at which I use them. I think any compressor can do well sparingly throughout the year, which is even more evidence that you should go with this compressor. Like if you're only airbrushing 16 hours a year, don't buy some $200, $300 compressor for sure. And if you are, airbrushing at my level, I'm not convinced at all that those compressors aren't going to crap out on you. And like I said, I've only lost 2 of them in 4 years. So. I spill paint on them sometimes. Disasters happen in my work area. But they're cheap. Let me show you guys my airbrush. All right, guys. So here's my Awada Eclipse. I just pulled it out of the bath. I keep it disassembled oftentimes when I'm not using it, and I soak it in some simple green solutions or even some harder stuff, some purple degreaser. I'm trying to find the ones that are natural though, the ones that say like made from nature or whatever, citric one or whatever, just because it's my pet peeve. I ain't trying to breathe in too much messed up stuff throughout the day. So you can see some parts of this are beat up. Some parts are mixed and matched from other Awada Eclipses. I've owned 4. Before I knew quite what I was doing, I definitely beat them up and didn't take care of them well enough. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put it back together for you guys, show you all the parts. This nozzle right here, this tip, is made of brass. It has a tin piece right here. This is a very important part of the whole process. That part is easy to break and expensive to replace. So what I like to do is after I get it clean, I use a little bit of hops number 9. This is my jam right here. This is like a for guns, like it's an oil / solvent. What I do is, like, after I get a good clean on this thing, I'll drop a little bit in here with a busted up paintbrush, take the needle and kind of just work it in there in the grooves, because it isn't solvent. It will get to the deepest parts in there and dislodge them. A little bit of oil, never hurt anyone. I'll make sure to blow it all out before I start painting. So it's in there, I like that. So it goes right here. I'm even going to use some of the excess oil on this to put on the threads that's still there and put the end cap on. The end cap is a couple of different pieces. There is actually, oh, it's on there super tight. I forgot to break it apart. Okay, so you got two things here. Where they see this ridge and then this ridge, this is the nozzle and this is another tip right here. These are important pieces to keep clean, and even more importantly, to not over tighten. Like, as soon as they're tight, stop twisting. I only take them off every now and then to clean, but you can actually get pretty much in there pretty easily in this little region with a toothbrush or whatever. But yeah, when you get this base tightened here, do not over tighten these. They will snap off. It's important. So you got here now is you got the trigger. This is one of my favorite pieces to keep oiled. It's mainly my main thing is, like, I'll oil this little stem right here, because it actually is kind of mechanical. You know, like, it sits in this little cradle, and you want it to be pretty responsive and not stick. So this will help it not stick. It's kind of tricky to get it back in. You need some light to look in there, and you'll see there's a tiny little hole in there. And you just got to get this little dangly pendulum to get inside that hole. And I usually do it. There it is. It's in there now. So now the oil's in there, helping it stay, lubed up. So now what I do is, like, put this piece in here. This is what the trigger actually manipulates with a spring. It's very simple. In this piece to hold it all together. I'll put a little bit of oil on this piece. A lot of my O-rings are just been disintegrated over the years. So I'll tighten this down by hand really tight. And now you'll see, you pull the trigger back, it manipulates this stem. What I'll do is I'll pull the stem all the way out, put a little oil there. Get a nice gliding feel. Here's the needle. I'll just drop the needle in there a little bit, get a little bit of oil on the tip, slide it through. It's in. So what I like to do is I like to get the little wing nut right here. It's not a wing nut, but just a nut. And push the needle tight, but not too tight, and then start screwing it down. That, now as you can see, what the trigger is actually doing is it's deciding how far the needle comes down. And it's a very simple idea. The needle is flush in here against the tip. Nothing can get out. The needle just comes to a sharp point, and as you pull it out, air will push the paint around the needle and it will leave through the nozzle. The more you back it out, the bigger the hole is. You can even do things like unscrew this, back it out a little further so it's completely out, like it'll blast the paint. You can even take it out all together, but it'll leak out, so I don't recommend doing that. So it's basically pretty quick. Put it back together, it's ready to go. This is a double action airbrush, which means when you push it down, you got air. When you pull it back, that's paint. Easy. As you push it down, more and more, it'll manipulate the controls to let more and more air in. I think you might be able to see in there this little knob right here, and that's what does it. So one of the hardest things about a double action airbrush is it's actually really hard to feather down a different air level. Like, typically I airbrush, I push it all the way down, so I'm blasting maximum PSI all the time, and then I'm very feathering back the controls. Some airbrushes are single action, which means you decide how much air is going and it's set in stone, and then you manipulate the air. And you can get a lot of control doing that, like tons of it. The problem is that it's a slower process altogether. So what I recommend is get good at blasting PSI out and feathering the paint controls. I paint at the highest PSI this airbrush can handle. This compressor we talked about. The idea is that since we use a lot of heavier acrylics in the miniature painting world, and not all the paints are air ready, and even the ones that are air ready aren't like true air paints, because like most airbrushes are airbrushing fine inks through them. That doesn't work for what we do. So I just recommend getting an Iwata clips because it has a lot of stainless steel moving parts designed for heavier acrylics. Additionally, just get good at working with heavy PSI. Like I said, this combo will help push paints through, reduce the clogs. So basically that's all I'm going to go over today. This is like super beginner intro airbrush compressor. The next video I'll actually put some paint in this thing, start manipulating the controls for you guys. But you know, I'm trying to take requests from the audience. I will try to keep up with you guys. Hey guys, thanks for watching all that. I hope it wasn't too confusing. Please hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what you want to see in the next one. I am committed to showing you guys this process. I will try to put some paint in that brush, like I said. I will do my best. So just hit me up in the link. Check out the links. Don't forget to hit me up on Twitter. I'll do my best to respond there. I'm not the best twatcher or twitcher, whatever they call it, but I'm getting there. Find me on Instagram. Check out my website, nextlevelpainting.net. I try to put up all the gallery pictures up there all the time, and of course my Facebook page. I do a lot of stuff there. But the most important thing is stay here, check out the channel. I'm trying to do a lot of things. Thank you guys for watching so much. I'll be at a tournament this weekend. Actually, before I cut myself off, I'll be at a tournament this weekend in the Raleigh-Durham area. If anyone's local and they want to check it out, it'll be at Event Horizon. I will be there with some of my camera people, and we'll be trying to take some B-roll footage for the next thing we're trying to do, which is part 2 of Project Mayhem, essentially. It's coming in about 3 months. Gonna have some new stuff for you guys. This is like a prototype, we have some big plans. So if you guys want to say hi, talk shop, I'll be there on Saturday, which is I think the 30th. Let me check my clock. Yep, looks like the 30th. So anyway, play on, players.